Welcome in, everybody. My name is Bryce Kuhn. We welcome you into tonight's show. Ralph Leary, Will Manis joining us. We're talking the prime drama happening out in Boulder, the Twitter war, what it means for Colorado, what it could mean for both Shedeur and Deion's futures, all that and more. And we'll have a little, they guys don't know it yet, a little conversation on the new EA Sports college football game as well. Some good combo there to end the show and round it out. My name is Bryce Kuhn. This is the Crowded Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Kuhn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in. My name is Bryce Kuhn alongside Ralph Leary and Will Manis. We hope you're having a fantastic Thursday afternoon. A little bit different show schedule this week, but it was good. It was good to give Will some time at the beach. Will, how was the weather? Did you eat any good food?
Yes and yes. Weather was good. Double red flag down in the Gulf of Mexico, so couldn't enjoy the water. Got burnt to a crisp as usual. Sunscreen is an issue for some people. Like for real, people, if you go outside, put your sunscreen on. Like for real. The good food was good. Had some fish, some seafood, as one does when you go to the ocean. But yeah,
that's one thing I've enjoyed about living.
You know what? I should have even said that, because in about 5 seconds there's going to be a comment about that. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. That's okay. It's okay. We're going to maintain our professionalism as much as we can here tonight. Ralph, no route today. You went to the hot box, as they call it there, the big silver box that just gets blistering hot during the summer months, cold during the winter. Let the people know, why no route today? What'd they let you know?
Well, I mean, I had an option for a route. I let the another driver have it so I could help my dad out today because he needed some assistance while I'm working today. So, yeah.
You're a good person.
You can't hide money, people.
No.
You can't hide money.
Look, you can't. It's probably true. Hey, we're going to be talking about a couple things tonight. We're talking about, obviously, Colorado and Deion Sanders. But before we get into that, make sure you like the video, subscribe. Whether you're watching on Twitter, head over, follow us on Twitter or X. If you're calling it X, by the way, stop.
I'm sorry.
Just get some help. I don't know why we're calling it X. I don't like that. I'm not.
Why do you think you're better than everybody else calling it X?
Yeah, I don't know. We're not better than anybody because we don't know nobody. Like, for real. So I think, I don't know. It's big news. Big news coming out of Boulder, Colorado. And once again, Ralph has been great on this. Well, I don't know if you caught this, but a couple weeks ago, we were talking about a spring scrimmage, a closed-door spring scrimmage at Georgia Tech that Ralph was able to get never-before-seen footage. Ralph was able to tap into his sources out there in Boulder, get some never-before-seen footage between Deion Sanders and certain players in that locker room. Ralph's going to play it for you right here.
So you know where I live, so come get some. Like, for real. I'm just going to be honest, man. He's almost something done so bad. Come get some. Y'all take care. God bless.
Well, at least he ended it with God bless.
Yeah, he ended it with his faith. And you look, whenever anyone ends it with that, you
can't knock God's faith,
Yeah, you can't.
Like for real.
Like for real. So come get some. I want someone to turn that into a GIF. Like, turn it to a GIF, and that's my GIF for the rest of time. I want that one.
No, we know what your GIF is. You have a
it's
GIF.
Yeah, and this big question, big news. There from Dr. Bob. So hey, look, we appreciate everyone tuning in, talking college football with here on a Thursday evening. All right, so let's kind of go back to where this whole thing started. Colorado and Shedeur Sanders. A lot has happened. This first started with an Athletic article. I think Will and I both subscribe to the Athletic. I would recommend it, especially if you're an Atlanta sports fan. I love the content that they put out there. I can't vouch for different areas, but I think, Will, you gifted me a subscription one time or gifted me a coupon code, and I've kept it. And we just don't care about Ralph, whether he has it or not. So
I think Ralph for a long time was adamant about not wanting it. Ralph will get on a soapbox about some things sometimes and just feel I think not want to do things out of principle.
No, I have no knock with the Athletic. I just don't want to subscribe to it because I know how I am. I won't read anything out of it. I'll just be wasting it.
See, I treat it like my day. I treat it like a newspaper. Like I read it each day or each night. That's it. Anyways, let's talk about what happened. So former Colorado safety Xavier Smith told The Athletic in a story that published on Monday. He said, quote, Deion Sanders never even tried to get to know me and that he was destroying guys' confidence and belief in themselves. We're going to talk about, because I think there's a lot of different layers for people to be able to understand where we're coming at from this angle. I think we have all the same beliefs, but we'll see what happens. So Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, for the Rock Dwellers that do, look, Rock Dwellers watch our show, that's fine. Shedeur Sanders posted to Twitter. He didn't even remember who Smith was. He literally said bro had to be very mid at best, insinuating that Smith was only an average player. Now, Smith was a guy who had injury trouble throughout his short time in Colorado. He was a freshman All-American at the FCS level in Austin Peay, and then has now followed. He's now a UTEP, transferring there. This escalated guys into a back and forth. So let's stop right there. What we have is, we're not going to get into the Deion Sanders side of things. We're going to stay with the players here. We'll start with you. Strictly from the players' side of things, not even getting into what Colorado receiver Caleb Mathis did, which is where he got the better of Smith in a drill. I want to touch on that in a second. This is just players going back and forth. I don't necessarily have a massive issue with guys. First off, I don't have a massive issue with Xavier Smith telling The Athletic what he told them. That's his point of view. That's what he wants to sit there and say. I also don't have a massive deal with Shedeur Sanders clapping back and saying what he said. Maybe that's a different belief in how things should happen. Professionalism will get to what that could maybe cost them down the road. At this point, it is what it is. The problem I have is with Caleb Mathis posting a practice video. Now, as a guy who covers college sports full time, there is a media portion, viewing period, and then there's a period that is private, more higher level competition that the media does not get to see. And coaches know this. They're going to show you special teams for the 15-minute viewing period, and then they're going to get into one-on-ones. This video that Colorado receiver Caleb Mathis posted, the video of him, where essentially he cooked Smith, I don't like that, because I think that's not meant for public consumption. And also, too, how many times in a one-on-one wide receiver DB drill can you just say, here's 50 of me getting cooked, and then here's 50 of me cooking another guy? It's a one-off example. So I open to that. I think that's the part that I have the biggest problem with. This is a private thing behind closed doors where guys are, laying it out there on the line. Obviously, things are going to happen, and you kind of expose that. That's being a bad teammate in my viewpoint.
Yeah, I agree. Ultimately, players going back and forth, players saying things I don't care about, to be honest. But I don't know if you saying clap back was your word, or if you got it from somebody else saying that. I'm talking about Shedeur. Xavier Smith didn't call out Shedeur. So it's not really a clapback by Shedeur. But yeah, you talk like professionalism, things inside the program. I think this just shows what Colorado is as a program, I think. And it really is sad, because he's a really talented player, and things like that are going to hurt him. As coaches, part of their job is to keep their players on track, especially the ones that are uber talented like that, or talented enough to play at the next level from whatever level you're at, all the way from Pee Wee all the way up. If you've got kids that can play at the level above, you want to help them succeed in everything. So nothing off the field, nothing stupid, quote unquote, from playing at the next level. And attitude, leadership is a big part of that. For Shedeur to say that he doesn't remember him, that's a lie, I think.
It's petty. It's petty.
Starting quarterback not know everybody on the team. I know it's a room of 85 guys, but they all know each other. Yeah, that's the first I've ever heard of him be like, yeah, I don't remember him. Like, come on. You go up against him in practice every day. You do team events with him. You know who he is. And if a starting quarterback is coming out saying he doesn't know somebody, that would be a huge red flag to me if I was an NFL GM, and that would really turn me off to him.
Well, and I'll say this before I kind of go over to Ralph on this. You mentioned the word clapback. I viewed it more as a clapback at the comments made. I tried to kind of, defend his dad in the sense of I guess he felt that this young man, and his name's escaping me once again for some reason, the original guy, that he felt that Xavier Smith was taking a shot at his dad And so he decided to kind of take a shot at him. Like, that's what it kind of felt like to me. It's like, hey, you take a shot at saying, pretty much trying to say that Deion doesn't care about anybody. And now I'm going to say, well, we don't even know who you are. This is a level of pettiness that is kind of ridiculous to me. We're going to get into some of the nuances of Deion because I have been a guy that has liked what Deion has done. Truthfully, I will say this. We'll talk about this. I don't have a problem with him cutting guys. It's just more noticeable now in the transfer portal era. But guys were getting gray shirts. We knew that. Like, guys were getting cut, told that they weren't going to do that. This is just normal stuff. Ralph, your thoughts though on just not getting into what Deion said, but just the Shedeur. I will say this. I agree with Will. It's a bad look for the quarterback, the supposed leader of a program.
Yeah, well, it started. I want to say last week when Dylan Edwards hit the portal. If you don't remember, there's a practice video of them warming up, and there, I think it was Shedeur or it might have been Travis Hunter, and it says we're recruiting running backs. And it's not a clap at anyone. But you can tell they're pissed about Edwards leaving and going to hitting the portal, but. There's no reason to make a response. Obviously, that kid was that someone asked him, "What was your experience like with Coach Prime?" He said, "I never knew him, never got to see him." There's nothing wrong with saying that, but what do you expect? He's got 85, 90 guys on his team. You're not going to work one-on-one with every single one. That's why there's assistant coaches. So for him to say that, I think there's nothing wrong. But for Sanders to come back and and make a comment back, it's just childish. This is not high school anymore. This is not you playing on high school and someone saying you all receive assault because your dad's the coach, and you go on Twitter and say something back and you beat them in a high school game. It's just college, man. You're about to be in the pros next year. I mean, you're looking at raising your draft stock this upcoming season. You're not winning a national championship. You don't have the talent around to do that. So shut up, play your game, win some games, make yourself look presentable for the NFL. And go be a first round draft pick because you have the ability to do that. It's just, it's childish, and there are GMs out there. I know there's not a lot. I mean, we've seen some players who talk a lot of trash and don't back it up really well, or back it up really well, and they get drafted early on and they don't pan out. It just happens year in, year out. But he has the talent to back it up. He can go and play in the NFL. He can be good. I mean, don't get me wrong. The kid can sling it. I don't care who's blocking for him. You don't just throw 400 something yards in a game and just averagely. I mean, he's got good talent.
Yeah, and I think that's the disappointing part. Is like this kid, he's a great talent, but now there's going to be a knock negatively on what he brings to the table because of all this hoopla going on around the program. Now, let's take it a step further. I agree. It's not a great look. I'll be interested to see what the long-term ramifications of this. Yeah, some NFL GMs might say, well, I don't want a quarterback that's going to be worried about what people are going to say about him on social media. Okay, I get that. I do think this is part of Shedeur having to grow up in the limelight of his father. Because when Deion was coming up, and obviously we weren't really alive to be able to see this, but if social media was where it is now with Deion, it would have been nuts. But he didn't have to have that consequence. So there's a lot of different things. And I'm not even saying what Deion did when he played was wrong. But just the everybody being able to have a public opinion on what you do in every single aspect of what you do. Deion had that, but not as necessarily in a public forum like this where people have, I'll say this, there's no buffer to being able to interact with college players now. 30, 40 years ago, if you had an opinion on Deion Sanders, well, you might say it to your buddy at the lunch table, but no one's tweeting at him. And that, I think this is an example of Shedeur needing to mature, needing to understand that, hey, the same things that my dad was able to weather, I can't treat it like that. Like, you can't have another Deion Sanders because unless you are just never going to respond to anything, which is probably what Shedeur should have done, it's going to be very, very hard for teams not to say, hey, that might be a little bit of a red flag.
I got a question for you, Bryce, and this goes along. I feel like we've had this conversation before, but about like fans tweeting at players, like on a podcast. I'm pretty sure we went over this on a podcast one night. I don't remember how long ago it was, but I think it was when the portal just opened up, when the portal got really crazy, and fans were tweeting at players and talking about how they were harmed them and stuff, and it got really intense. So we
got
were both
ridiculous.
like, calm down. And also, and talk about that, it brings in like the Cormani McLean incident when he went on the Twitter space. And
oh my gosh! Will, have you seen that?
Things you should not do.
No, I don't know.
Go on a Twitter space for Colorado fans after you just hit the portal as their number one prospect of all time. That is a horrible idea. He went up there and just got yelled at the whole time. He was just saying that people are crazy. I'm like, why would you join it? There's no point. I'm surprised that Shedeur or they didn't join it, because that would have been hilarious. They really has some great content.
Well, and here's the thing. Colorado has a lot of different stuff. Chris Hummer, 24/7 Sports, wrote an article on it. 61% of the 72 players they signed, both high school and transfer in that 2023 cycle, 61% are no longer on the roster. That's crazy.
41 players are right now currently in the transfer portal leaving.
That's nuts. And so I don't want to sit here and say they got a culture problem. I don't know. I don't know what it is. And I think that, like, I don't think this affects Deion's ability to be successful at the Power 4 level. I still think that he can attain success at Colorado and what Colorado views success like. Nationally, people are going to say national championships. Turning Colorado into a 6-7 win team consistently, getting them
eligible team year in year out is
he can do that there. He can do that there.
And this is a good year to do it with the new conference they're in. It's not a power led conference. You don't have an Oregon, a Washington, a Utah to play, or you have Utah.
It's just going to be a bloodbath. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you don't have a Texas Oklahoma either. So So I mean, I agree. And this is not. I mean, I'll go back to what you said earlier. I respect what Deion's done. I mean, he killed the portal. He took advantage of it. I mean, his first day at the school, he walked in on a meeting with the team meeting and says, "I'm bringing my guys."
Yeah, but see, that's laughed at now because the Louis baggage is not really there anymore. I think that's the kicker to all this. Is he brought the guys, and I'll be honest with you, I don't have a problem with him cutting kids, telling kids, "Hey, we don't have a spot for you," because that's real life. You're not doing justice to the kids by allowing them to string them along and never play them. And I think that's one thing that I can respect about Deion, how he constructs a roster, is he's very candid about all these things, where I think a lot of coaches and even some of the great coaches in college football aren't candid with that public.
Well, I mean, how candid is he? We've seen almost nearly every story, which obviously there's two sides to every story. It could just be somebody's upset about it, but
disgruntled employee, maybe, yeah.
Deion's not even telling these kids that they're cut. He's sending an assistant or sending somebody else to tell them you're cut, which, that could be how it's done in the NFL.
No, most of the time they bring those guys in.
From what I've seen on Hard Knocks, it's not how it's done. Usually the head coach has a conversation with the player, but I don't know. Deion's biggest problem, I think, is going to be, especially after a year and a half of being in the job, is kind of remaking his image.
It's a PR nightmare.
He's tried to do already, and with just the revolving door of players and coaches, you need that consistency to have a high level of success in any occupation, any team, any conference, any league, anything. Consistency is a huge part of it, and he's not had that, and I think a lot of that is his own doing.
I agree, and I think a lot of it too is the idea that who wants to go be a backup at Colorado right now? Like, why would you? Because the quarterback's going to act like he doesn't know you, and let's just take it a step further. So, kind of continue to get into this. Jaheim Ward is a guy that was Smith's Austin Peay teammate. He tweeted at Caleb Mathis, who was the guy. And let's kind of get all this in order here.
Yeah,
Caleb Mathis posted that video. Jaheim Ward quote tweets that and says, "Hey, you had 38 receiving yards last year." Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. That tweet led to Ward's career stats at FCS school, which were 36 tackles over 3 seasons, getting posted. Okay, at this point, it's just two players, banter. It's players, 4 or 5 guys, just back and forth, whatever. Here is where the PR nightmare that I think, Will, you're talking about, the image where parents are going to say, do I want my kid to go be a part of that? Because, like, from my vantage point, and you guys know this too, when you talk to a recruit, the biggest things they're going to outline, yes, NIL is massive. Yes, opportunity to play is massive. But the chance, and a lot of kids talk about this, to be developed, and this is something the parents really care about, to be developed both on and off the field. I don't think you can say that about Colorado right now because of what has happened to PR Nightmare. So Deion Sanders quote tweets it saying, "Law Jesus," above a screenshot of Ward's stats. It had 12 million views. This was as of last night. And then he obviously went back at another Twitter user who took issue with Shedeur's social media behavior, saying that you should probably calm your son down. And he said y'all had a 4-8 record last year. And Deion says he'll be a top 5 pick. Where's your son going? LOL. I got time today. LOL. This is where I sit with this, guys. Yeah, and here's the tweets, Ralph Sheeran.
Yeah, I mean,
I think bottom line, we're sitting. I think bottom line, we're just sitting in this situation of where, like, you just can't act like that in a professional setting. Like, you can't do that. You can't do this as a head coach. It's a PR nightmare. And that's coming from someone who is probably not already in the club of popularity, in the sense of, we've said this, I liked what Deion has brought to college football, in sense of an excitement, what he's brought to Colorado. That's where I sit with it. That's how I view it. You can't do this. This is a bad look. I think it's an embarrassment for Colorado that you got your head coach out there quote tweeting and coming after FCS players. That's ridiculous. You shouldn't have answered. Like, bottom line, you shouldn't have answered.
Yeah.
Well, I think Deion's biggest thing is doing things his own way. He's doing things completely different at the college level that's never been done. I think it's very much in the NFL model. Where you can chop and change however much you want to. That's never been allowed to do before. The transfer portal has allowed that. So, I don't foresee it working, being like this, but maybe it does. It's too early to tell, but I mean, it's just completely different from what we're used to.
You mentioned the NFL model. NFL is a business, and I think that's what Deion has been very vocal that he's trying to bring to the college level, because, one, it doesn't help these kids out, like we said, to string them along. Two, it doesn't necessarily help when you have college football is already a business, and it's much more of a business than it's ever been, like you said, Will. So I think that's the biggest thing, is like, you have a business, he's trying to prepare for this. You can't do that. Like, you just can't. It's not a good look when you're on social media trying to clown somebody, going back and forth. I'll say this: nothing good comes from when you're on social media and you're angry. Like, I've fallen victim to that. Other people have fallen victim to that. Like, it's
100% have.
Yeah. So like, we can all agree he struck a chord. Deion and Shedeur are probably tired of the hate, and I understand that. I get that, but it comes with the territory. If you're going to talk the big game, which I'm cool with, do that. You got to understand that there's going to be repercussions when things don't work out. And I think Deion knew that. He knew that when he took the job. I don't think he handles the media necessarily very well in general with those press conferences, watching them. I think it's sunshine and rainbows when he gets to talk about wins. When they lose, it's victim mentality a lot of times. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed that. It really is. It's well, you're trying to come after. No one's trying to come after you. You just got to understand, when you walk that line, and which is cool. That's fine. I love it. I think it's awesome. I like the cockiness. You don't think people liked that? When Colorado played Colorado State, that game started like 11 o'clock Eastern, and people stayed up and watched that football game. No one was watching that football game past 5-10 years. That's good. It's good for college football. You just got to understand.
That, honestly,
when you start to, when things aren't going well, you got to keep that same energy. The same way he wants media to keep the same energy when they're winning, you got to understand it's vice versa. And I think a lot of this is they're tired of the hate, and I get it. I'd be fed up with it too, but it really is starting to look like it's becoming it's an all about me show, and it's all about me, Shedeur, Travis,
Shiloh.
His daughter just transferred out for women's basketball, which he actually hated on that decision on a podcast. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was crazy. But I think that it's just one of those things where you have to understand the energy where it comes from. So let's go to a couple comments here, because this is going to be really fun. We got Jeremy. He says, good question here. Jeremy says, do we see more former pros and or college coaches in general following the primetime model or shying away from it? Jeremy, I'll ask you this and we'll give it to Will. Do you mean in the sense of how he's building his roster or how he's conducting business day to day? That would be my only question. But Will, you go and take that.
Yeah, I take it as roster construction, and I think it depends from program to program. You know, Deion inherited a really, really terrible college football program, especially from the talent on the field. From that standpoint, so he really didn't have a choice but to come in and gut what was there and try to improve on it, try to bring in better players. So I think early on you'll see a lot of that in new places. I mean, I saw Hugh Freeze do it at Auburn, brought in an entire wide receiver room. It didn't work. He had to do it again this offseason. So as far as roster construction, you know, I think more will go that way. And if college football just continues to look more like the NFL, he probably won't have a choice. That the way he conducts business, I think it'll have to be in that similar manner, just kind of cut and dry. You know, you're not good enough here. You're not good enough here for us. Good luck to you. And I think teams are doing more of that. It's definitely being treated more like a business with NIL being the biggest player in the room.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that this is a business, and I think that you're seeing programs conduct it more and more. People don't like it, and a lot of these kids have been told their entire life they're the best thing. You know, they're the best. They're the biggest fish in the pond until they get to the college level, and then they're overwhelmed. And I mean, like, for example, I talked about this on last night's Georgia Tech show, but there was a situation down here at LSU where you had a kid enroll in January, and he's cut 4 months later. Like, okay, but I said this last night. Ralph, you were here for that report. That's good for the kid because it would have done him no good to be strung along and lose a year of eligibility, waste a year of development. So yeah, it's tough, but that's how the real world works. Like that. Yeah, that's how that works. That's my take on it.
You'd rather be known, told beforehand that you're not going to be playing in the fall at all, and have a chance to transfer back out and go to a smaller school that might need you or might want you, instead of wasting a whole year sitting the bench, never seeing the field, maybe in garbage time, maybe in garbage time.
Yeah, and for example, I think this young man, I believe that he took a visit to ULM. He went to Texas State, so he's going to get to go play a role on a team this year, which is better for his development. Yeah, it's not fun conversations, but it's real life, and that part of it is, I don't have a problem with how Deion conducts his business. I think it's just more, this is one of the things where this is probably the first big thing where I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that. Just kind of my thoughts on that. All right, we got a couple more comments. Let's continue to get to.
This is just, Jeremy kind of following up.
Okay.
I've seen coaches do both of these. If they're a team that is not competing for a national title toward the end of the season, they lose a couple games, they really start pushing a certain player, maybe for a Heisman Trophy or something. Bryce, correct me if I'm wrong, Brian Kelly did this with Jaden Daniels after they lost a few games. He really started pushing and showcasing Jaden Daniels to get him that Heisman Trophy. But obviously that's a decision.
You have to market
right.
that. Yeah.
And that is a decision that's made in season. That's not really a program defining decision you make. So I don't know. It's like I said, it's completely different than it was, even 3 years ago. So we'll see. I mean, the closer this thing gets to being NFL, the more like the NFL it's going to have to be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Going to address a couple more comments here, Ralph. I got these. Don't worry about this. So we have JB. Appreciate you tuning in, JB. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you don't call it hate, what is it? It blows my mind that people trash talk a team that's so trash and a 4-8 team is no threat. Why even speak of the program? I'll tell you this. I think Colorado overachieved. Like, I think they did a great job this year. They were a team that literally won one game 2 years ago. There's more excitement in the program than there's ever been when you count in social media presence than ever in their entire program history. This is the most important time Colorado has that. They were able to move to a power conference and stay alive. That's massive for them. They won 4 games. They beat their Vegas over-under win total. That's progress. No one's hating on them. We're just saying probably shouldn't conduct your business by going after somebody on social media. That's that. I'll go to the next one here by JB. He says, okay, but it's okay for Coach Prime to be trash talked by ex-players in the media the way he has been and not respond at all, right? LMFAO, how long have they been trashing Coach Prime? People have had an opinion on Deion Sanders forever, like forever, 110% forever. And that's what we were talking about kind of at the beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that it's not wrong for Deion Sanders to have a response. I think there's a time and place to do that. I think that's calling a press conference. I think it's
certain players that you don't go after. I mean, an FCS kid does not matter to you.
Well, that kid had no bearing on anything that you do. That's the thing with that too. Like, if I will tell you this, I don't think it's appropriate in any form or fashion for a coach to go after. Don't even talk about Coach Prime. Let's just insert another coach. What if Nick Saban did this? He wouldn't. What if he had done it? What if Kirby Smart did this? What if Mac Brown did this? I mean, like, if you want to play the game that I know you want to play in this type of conversation, then you get where I just went with those three coaches. Put any nameless, faceless coach on there. If that happens, it's still wrong. Like, there's a time and a place to have a response. Hopping on social media and trolling somebody as the leader of a program, the de facto leader of a university, which is what Deion Sanders is for Colorado, a figurehead, a face, a marketing tool. I mean, it's not time or the place. That's just my opinion.
I got one comment on this, and just back to the comment about I forget which one it was already, but the 4-18, first comment you threw up for him. Talk about Colorado overachieving. How about having third in the country in most viewership for TV, and with 9 million? I mean, I don't think anything he's done this past year was underachieving. I think it's impressive. I mean, you go to one of the worst Power 5 schools in the country, and you go in there, you take the head coach's job. Now, there were 4 jobs possibly that he could have gone and took an easier job, or a job people maybe wanted him more. He could have succeeded more, and he probably would have done better at some of those schools. He didn't. He went to the harder school. He's going to try to build it back up, and I respect that. It's a hard thing to do. Most coaches are gone in 3 years these days.
True.
I mean, honestly,
if not less.
Honestly, it's 2 years.
Yeah.
Maybe not even 2 years if you're Auburn.
That.
Sorry, I had to. Will, I'm sorry.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
He didn't have a clue. But let me get to this real quick because there's some more comments I wanted to get to about this. So we got to that one. JB, once again, people make the narrative work when they want it to, and then don't when they don't when they don't. I think I understand that. How many people in channels eating off his name making money? I'm not. It's a story, so that's what content is. That's what this is. I don't understand that. And then once again, but he responds and his son responds. It's a huge issue. Nobody would say anything. I've already told you I don't care that his son responded. I think it's probably not the best advice. I wouldn't do it, but you do what you want to do. Nobody would say anything if Saban did it. That's facts. Yeah, that's not facts. I appreciate that opinion. If Nick Saban got on Twitter and went after
Caden Proctor,
what was perfect? People talking about that, buddy. People talking about that. If you went after Isaiah Bond, who transferred to Texas, people talking about that. People talking about that. Like, no one's trying to make it like if anybody does something like this, people are talking about it because it's crazy. It's not good life advice. I would say that, and not good life advice whether you're in the business world or in the college football world, entertainment world, which is what this is.
I mean, people talked for years about Nick Saban not letting his players transfer to other SEC schools. So, like, Nick Saban has had a lot of control and had a lot of opinions about things that he shouldn't have been able to control that are questionable. I mean, this is not an apples to apples comparison, obviously, but people talked about that for years.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And I see JB has another comment on here. We'll keep rolling with it because I appreciate the conversations and the comments. So he says, yeah, but he responds and his son responds, a huge issue. I think I played that one already. So if someone is trashing your sons and you and attacking your character, not just him as a coach, but as a father and a leader, at what point do you say enough is enough? Agreed. 110% agreed. Like Will said it to lead off the show. Don't know if you were here, JB. There's two sides to every story. Can we believe everything that's happening because some player goes to a media organization and says something? No, we can't. We need to hear the other side of the story. Like I said earlier, I think there's just a time and place to have that conversation. Mm-hmm. Hopping on social media in that atmosphere probably wasn't the wisest decision. That's all I'm saying. I don't have a problem with you defending your name or anything like that. Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. I don't think that's anything that we've portrayed either. So it'd be interesting. Hope I pronounce this right. Lildra, check. We'll go right there with that. So y'all don't see the multiple podcast teams that's not even the schedule talking crazy. Y'all don't see the multiple podcast.
So she's talking about like other teams on the schedule. So who teams that Colorado's playing this year?
Okay.
Them having a podcast talking trash. I mean, that's just going to be all year long. That's what they do.
I mean, that's sport. But this is the thing with this. It comes with the territory.
And this is a national story. It's a national story that comes out in May, when there's not a lot of news going on. So, like, it's what people can talk about. And talk about college football. If this would have came out in September, nobody would talk about it. It would have blown over.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. Caesar, what's good, my friend? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Sorry about that. So JB, if he addressed it in a press conference, would it be indifferent? Would it be? Yeah, because that's a professional setting. I think that's the biggest thing.
Or if he just even gives an interview. If a reporter calls him and says, "Hey, do you have a comment about this?"
Yeah, like issues a statement. Yeah, 110%. I don't have a problem.
Make a tweet off of the saying like you will not be responding to any hate on here. We're just focused on getting better. That had been the most appropriate response, and just been like, wow, Deion's above the hate. He said he don't care, and that's just like
he don't know nobody.
He don't know nobody. He don't care.
Here's the thing about Deion I respect the most, and it shows in this whole exchange right here. It should come as no surprise, and I don't think it really does to anybody, because since Deion got to Florida State and for lack of a better way to put it, had a microphone put in front of him, he has acted and said the same things. He's been the same way ever since.
Yeah.
So this is who he is, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It's not fake. It's not fake.
We're just saying the setting, the place for this is probably not the best, because like you said, Bryce, he's basically the public head of University of Colorado, CU, whatever. I don't know how they differentiate.
CU Boulder, I think is what they do. But
CU Boulder. He's essentially the head of CU Boulder. And no other head coach goes on Twitter and defends himself like that. So it's a surprise, and it's a big story.
I will say this: UTSA's coach, or one of the position coaches that was with one of the young men at Austin Peay, did stand up for his player, which saying he's a hard worker. That was his decision. I wouldn't do that personally if I was in that spot. I just don't think social media is the avenue. JB, I hope you can hear me in that. It's not that here's kind of where your dialogue, and I appreciate it. It's not that I don't think you can answer, what is being portrayed or you're accused of. It's not that I don't think that you can stand up for what you may think is right. It's more in the sense of what's the best way, the best avenue to go about it. Taking to social media where a lot of things are emotionally charged, I wouldn't do it. That's what he decided to do. Okay. Calling a press conference, issuing a public statement, whatever those things might be, that's where I would have, if I was his PR person, if I was on Colorado's SID staff, athletic communications person, I would have advised that route. That's all I'm going to say about it. Standing up, false accusations, yeah, that pissed me off too. That's just my thoughts. All right, Lil Drew, we appreciate you tuning in once again. Make sure you hit that sub button. Alabama had the same number of transfers. It's not blown up. They pick and choose. Yeah, no. Different situation, I'd say. Alabama lost a head coach, and
this isn't the same thing we're talking about.
Yeah, no.
I think we all three said it. Like, we have no problem with him cutting kids, have no problem with having the players who he wants on his roster. And, really don't have a problem with the way that he's gone about doing it.
Yeah. If you want to leave a program because you don't want to be there anymore, you have that right to leave now. It's just how it is. It's the sad truth about what the game is now. But these guys want to go play for Coach Prime or or a certain coach or a certain university or a certain conference, and it's not what they thought it would be, and they leave. That's just what we've entered into now. We open the floodgates of the NIL, and they are just wide open and they're not closing anytime soon.
Wanted to get to this too. JB offers his opinion. He still would have been killed for even saying anything, period, professional setting or not. You know what? Maybe. Maybe. It wouldn't have been wrong to me, though. And I hope you, like I said, I hope you hear us in that. I don't think any three of us would have looked at Deion differently if he'd have defended what they're doing in that setting. I don't want to speak for you guys in that. That's how I sit. Yeah.
I mean, I just think my only problem is reading Deion's tweets, he kind of insinuates who and what he's talking about, which again comes off as it just comes off as childish. But that's just to me. But it's like I said, Deion's always been Deion. He's always going to be Deion, and he's doing things his own way, and which I do have a lot of respect for. He's doing things his own way.
True. Wanted to get Lujo said, I'm just saying they're portrayed like it's bad when it's happened everywhere. I'd agree. I mean, look, there's been a ton of portal entries everywhere. You are right in that. This is just what we're saying. They're going to keep portraying like it's bad because of the way that Deion conducts himself. All three of us said we don't have a problem with that. Like I don't have a problem that he goes and talks a big game. Hey, we want to bring championships. I'm going to bring my Louis luggage. I don't care. That's competitive fire. I like that. I'd rather have a coach be brash like that. If you go down in flames, so be it. But I like that. It had to happen in a place like that. It just comes with territory.
Right. And I agree with what Lil Dre's saying. There are certain media outlets, certain people in the media that are just taking this and running with it and bashing Deion and his program, which I think is ridiculous. Because there's kids leaving left and right for different reasons.
Yeah. We're not bashing Deion, the Commodore program. I'm just saying probably could have I would have done it differently. I think you should have done it differently. That's what I think. What you got, Ralph?
I just want to go to this comment right here. I'll tell you this: any article or any news that comes out about your team, and it's anything bad, like if Florida had something come out, Georgia, Florida State, and Tennessee will be all over it. They'd be talking. All their podcasts would be talking all about it. That's just how it is. It's no.
I want to say this real quick. I don't want to. And just when what happened at Georgia a little over a year ago, Devin Willock passed away in that car wreck. There were fans taking shots in that sentiment. This just happens. There's just nasty people everywhere. Like I would just say that. There's people who are immature. And sorry, Ralph, to interrupt you. Just wanted to kind of parlay that example into what you're saying, but you can keep going.
No, I mean, but like every fan base is going to take advantage of a story against your school. They want to find ways to piss you off, tear you down, and get you riled up. That's just sports. If you don't have passion, if you don't have passionate fans for a sports team, it's not fun to go watch them. I mean, let's just be honest. If you're shown to a sporting event at a school, an organization, pro sport, and there's just no one there caring, it's not fun. So these people who are building up, like who are, I guess, create these podcasts and watching these people, who are like Colorado State fans. I'm guessing. I'm using a team against them. If CSU teams are playing out there, if they have fans making podcasts talking all about this, and they're building it up, that game is going to be absolutely insane this year.
That's why it was nationally televised last year.
Yeah, and it's good for the sport because now we got some talk between these teams. Now game day might come back.
Yeah,
it's good for the school. Now I'm not saying it's the right thing, the right way to do it, but it helps. It helps up. It builds a narrative for that game. It builds, you're playing for something more than just the actual game and maybe like if there's a trophy involved, you're playing for the rights, your smack talk rights for a whole year. So,
well, and I'll say this too. You talk about rivalries, and look, people are always going to take it too far. I'm not going to tell you I don't care. Like this is I don't care if Kansas State fans are blasting Deion. Oh, we're bringing this into the new, Big 12. Like, you shouldn't care about that. That's the opinion they're going to have. Like, it is what it is. Build your team and, do what you're going to do. Now, I will say this. I think that I think that Deion's building his team like this. And I will say this. I don't agree with this. I don't know if there's a ton of vertical building. I think it's all horizontal. What I mean by vertical is like you're building from the ground up. You're recruiting in Colorado high schools. You're recruiting high school talent. You're building relationships there. You have a coaching staff that is breeding and building young coaches that can assimilate and provide continuity in your staff. Will mentioned it, like the coaching carousel that Colorado had in itself last year was crazy. Like within the season was nuts. So I think that, just from my opinion, I think he's building horizontal. It gives off a vibe that maybe he's not there for a long time, and maybe he isn't. Maybe he's going to jump ship. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting storyline to watch, especially as Shedeur, Travis, and Shiloh kind of enter their final year. We all expect in college football. It's going to be something very interesting. So I feel like he's building horizontally for the short term. I don't feel like this is a long-term build, but you know what? Colorado's going to profit off of it. Colorado knew what they were signing up for. If he was not going to do that, if they I think they know that he's not going to be there for 10 years. They're going to try to capture lightning in a bottle.
He just
here.
said not too long ago he was going to be there 5 or 10 years.
He also said when he's at Jackson State that he wasn't going to leave. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that people crucified him then. People are just going to crucify Deion for what he is. I agree with what you said earlier in the show, though, Will. He is who he is, and I can respect that. He has not changed. I think that says a lot about, what it is. It'll be, very something interesting. Let's keep getting to a couple of comments. Lil Dre, we got 2 new viewers tonight. That's awesome. Over 129 people watching live. We appreciate you. It's a new college game, Lil Dre says. People need to get used to the transfer portal, and I always change the game, but it's a lot of people still thinking that it's Saban days where the coach had all the power. Lil Dre, I will say this. I agree 110% with what you're saying here. Not sure what it has to do with the conversation we're talking about, but I do agree players have more power than they have ever before. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think we do need to get to some type of, I'm going to use this word, competitive balance. This little CBA action is where it would be maybe a little bit better. It'd be something interesting. JB says, yeah, it is when it's his first year, not to mention taking over a 111 program. Makes some sense, man. Seriously, LOL, you would have a ground to stand on if he had 5+ years in. I believe he's talking to our friend Beauty and the Beard Furniture Flips over there. Yeah. In that. Beauty and the Beard does say Deion is wanting to get his sons and Hunter drafted, then he is jumping ship. Bookmark this, Will. That's what he says.
Man, Jonesy, I don't work for you.
He don't know anybody. I don't know. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff.
There was one comment we didn't bring up.
I apologize.
No, you're good. No, it's not a comment, but a comment that Deion said. It was a response to someone, tell your son to stop acting like he's the coldest out here and then put up a 4-8 season. Deion replied, he will be a top 5 pick. Where your son going? LOL. I got time today. LOL. That to me was that's a non-necessary comment.
It's not necessary. Like what is?
I understand what you're doing. The guy is telling your son to shut up. You take offense to that. You step up for him. I understand. You're a good father in that sense. You're protecting your son, but don't say it like that. And I'm sorry, can I read the comments at the same time, y'all are?
Yeah, it's wild. That's wild. Well, no, I agree with you, Ralph. Like I do agree with you, and I think. What is the positive outcome of that tweet? Now, and JB, if you're still watching, that's my question to you. What's the positive outcome of tweeting at some random person who you're never going to have an interaction with?
Deion's been hate ever since he was in coaching high school football.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I mean, to me, there's only negative that can come out of that. I don't think there's really any doubt that Shedeur Sanders is a top 5, 10, 15 talent.
Well, there is. People do doubt that, Will. I don't doubt it. I don't think you either.
I don't doubt it.
I think he's top. I think he's going to be one of the top 3 quarterbacks taken in the draft. I feel safe saying that.
I do. But, maybe this Twitter interaction this week is going to hurt his career. It very well could.
Well, let's end it kind of.
I don't know how it can help, and especially him saying, "I don't even know who you are. I don't even remember him." Like
it's
that.
It's gonna get brought up in the meeting.
That's gonna send off alarms, I think, for NFL GMs. Because at least most of what they say, don't take the Falcons as an example, but most of what they say in front of a microphone is how they're family and their quarterback needs to be the leader and all this.
Yeah.
I think that's going to send off alarm bells.
I'm with you there. I'm going to say this. The NFL has looked past far worse things. So I still think there's going to be a market. I really, really, really do. I think, I don't know. I really do think it's going to be something that's kind of interesting to watch. We'll get to this last comment, then we'll kind of go into our last segment here. Ralph, we'll play that nice little soap ad that we have here right after this comment. Lil Dre says, a high school recruit can be stole second year in. Nothing is 100%. You might as well wait and get a seasoned portal player out of the portal. Yes. You have to have a balance, though. I don't think that you can completely abandon high school recruiting. So that's what I say. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk about what does this mean for Deion's future, and then we'll end off the show with some NCAA college football talk here in a second. Bye.
Your soap is ugh, and your body wash is a synthetic detergent, but you're not a dish. You're a man. Switch to Dr. Squatch Natural Soap for Men. For men who build things. Open pickle jars on the first try. Slay dragons. And let their daughters braid their hair. Men who like to feel good and smell. Titillating. Dr. Squatch takes you places you never thought you'd go. Naked.
All right, we're back here. Graceful transition. It's a graceful show there, Ken.
Never forget, Ken. Words are hard.
Words are hard. Ken, I don't know if you haven't seen it yet. This was some of the never-before-seen footage. Ralph, we got to roll that again. The never-before-seen footage of essentially what we believe, maybe a reenactment of what the reaction was when the social media stuff occurred. So, Ralph, go ahead and run that video for us. Run that tape.
So you know where I live, so come get some. Like, for real. I'm just going to be honest, man. He's almost something done so bad. Come get some. Y'all take care. God bless.
Come get some.
Yeah, it's
Come get some. Hey, bring it on. I got my Sissy Blue shirt on. Bring it on. Come get some.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. All right, let's talk about this. Do you guys think, bottom line, does this affect Deion for what he wants to do in the future?
No.
Nope.
I don't think so.
Not a bit.
I don't think so.
Not a bit.
Because people know Deion's Deion.
Yeah.
Yep. And
We'll say it earlier.
We say it. We've said it tonight. It kind of comes with the territory. You know, if you're going to bring in Deion to lead your team, your program, your organization, I'm sure he has his eyes set on coaching, being the head coach of an NFL team. Comes with the territory. You got to be ready for it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't think it does at all. I think he'll be able to move, and I think that I can't wait for this rumor mill to start, and I'm just going to go ahead and lay it out there because it's going to be hilarious. If Billy Napier gets fired, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see the edits made of Deion stalking the sideline in blue and orange.
Every hot board from the Florida sites is going to have Deion Sanders at number one. Every single
as it should.
hot board.
As it should.
Should it?
Yes.
I don't know if as it should.
Well, I 100% think it should. I mean, who else do you want to hire in that point?
You got 30 more seconds, 15 more seconds to talk about Deion. We're going to talk about something else here in a second. Let me know when you're ready.
Glenn Schumann. Glenn Schumann. Ooh. You wanted a name? I gave you a name. Glenn Schumann.
Okay. All right. 3 seconds in. We're going to real quick end the show with some EA College Football 25 video game. Real quick before we get it, we're going to have a crowded booth online dynasty. That is if Ralph doesn't, want to just play offline the whole time. Which I will be playing offline a lot. But we cannot wait for it. Make sure. Extra Points, Matt Brown does a great college football newsletter. You should go check it out. Guys, we're going to talk straight up cover athletes. It's going to be
Join the
representative of
Discord.
the past. Yes, join the Discord.
Links at the top of the description on YouTube.
It is. Very true. The new football game is going to have Power 4 cover athletes. I want you guys to give me 3 cover athletes. There's not going to also be redundant positions. So we're not going to have a cover with a Carson
4
Beck on
quarterbacks.
it with 4 quarterbacks. Yeah, it's not going to be redundant. So give me 3 cover athletes that you want to see on the new college football game. You want me to go first? Because I got mine.
You go first.
Okay. At number 1, I'm going Big 12. He's got the numbers. Does he have the brand value? I'm going
Don't
Ollie
take
Gordon. Ollie Gordon.
Took mine.
Okay.
Dang it, Brian.
Apologies. At number 2, he's a guy that they really capitalized on NIL. Their brand is at an all-time high. I'm going Luther Burden at Missouri. I think that's going to be a fun one. I think it'd be a lot of fun one for them to see. And then the last one I'm going with is Shedeur Sanders is going to be on the cover, so I'm not going with that one. And it's Big 12. But I am going to go Dillon Gabriel, new Big 10. I think he's probably the best quarterback going to be in the Big 10 this season. So that's where I'm going with it. Dillon Gabriel, Ollie Gordon. Those are just 3 guys I'd like to see you get one. And Luther Burden, because I do believe Luther Burden deserves some respect across the college football world. All right, who's up next? Who's got it?
Will, you want to go?
Sure, I'll go. I mean, I'm gonna go the easy route. Say Shedeur Sanders. I mean, it's he's gonna be on there.
He's going to be on it.
I'm gonna go like Big 12. Quinshawn Judkins, Ohio State. Or that's
Big 10, you mean? Big 10. Big 10.
Quinshawn
Quinshawn, I like
Judkins,
that.
running back at Ohio State, and I'm gonna go with a 3rd string running back,
Oh, God.
Jeremiah Cobb from Auburn.
That's going to be Will's custom one that he makes in Canva. Ralph, you got 3 for us? So sorry, Kamani Vandal's not still with the program. How about you want a John Sumrall cover, Ralph, with both Sunbelt Conference trophies on his shoulders? Or how about a Carlton Marshall?
The wide receiver that went to
I would love a
Tulane.
Carlton Marshall one. The all-time leading tackler in college football. Carlton Marshall. Sorry.
I mean, when you play for 8 years, that'd be hard not to be the leading tackler.
I'm going to go to a Colorado player. I'm going to go Travis Hunter. We didn't use him. I think
Fair
Travis
enough.
Hunter is the best 2-way player in the country. I'm going to go SEC. I'm going to go Malachi Starks.
Ooh.
I think Malachi Starks is so good.
Yeah, he's going to be a first-round pick.
He's next. And I think I'm going to go – because Will went with his 3rd string running back at all. I'm going to go with Troy's starting quarterback with Goose Crowder just because it's the best name in college football right now. Or wait, no,
General Booty is on the
and he's
transfer
in the
portal, by the
portal.
way.
So wherever he lands, put General Booty on the cover.
You will notice that we didn't put one
wanna
ACC player
see-
on there.
Yeah,
I wanna
no one
see-
there is good.
The best cover athletes would be one from Army, one from Navy, one from Air Force.
Okay.
Ooh,
All on the cover. But you
that's
know they
clean, though.
Together.
they're not in the game, correct? Because there is no NIL at the service academies.
I don't know.
Service academy athletes cannot participate in NIL.
I don't know. I'm not sure. They may not be in the game. Neither is Arch Manning. So that's stupid. Hey, we can't wait though. College football
He
game.
didn't get paid enough.
Guys. I believe in like 2 or 3 weeks we're going to get like a full detailed release of like what's going to be happening, and then July, what is it, 19th or 29th around one of those dates, somewhere in that realm. The back half of July, we're going to be rocking and rolling with that new college football game. We appreciate
Bryce
you watching.
won't
We
be, but
appreciate.
we will be.
Oh, I will be. I definitely will be.
Bryce will have to babysit.
Right here, baby. Right here on the table. We appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Completely free for you to do, just to support what we have going on here. Continue to get us in the algorithm, and we hope you tune into live shows more often. Our typical show schedule is going to be Mondays and Wednesdays, talking just general college football. That is from 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. We run about an hour typically. We really do some really good stuff with that as well. Cannot wait for you to be a part of that. Will concocted a fantastic idea, a draft of sorts we're going to start running on Wednesday nights. We'll kind of have our, our news that we'll talk about on Mondays, and then we're going to get into some more interactive shows on Wednesdays, at which it's going to be fun. Make sure you like this video too, or comment down below with how comfortable on a scale of 1 to 10, when my child is born in 3 or 4 weeks, that you feel with Will and Ralph running the show for about a week or two by themselves. I feel okay with it. We'll see what happens. But hey, he is Will Mannis. My name's Bryce Coon, and that's Ralph.
You got to send us out one more time. Send us out
one more time. Let the people know, like, if they want the smoke. If they want the smoke, Ralph, let them know.
So you know where I live, so come get some. Like, for real. I'm just gonna be honest, man. I want something done so bad. Come get some. Y'all take care. God bless.
God bless.
Amazing stuff. Thanks so much for watching tonight on The Crowded Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Coon.